All right, Kirby Smart with an injury update on three guys very specifically. I'll start with Marvin Jones, who's got an ankle injury. It looks like he might return to Georgia's practices soon. He is not practicing at this moment. He's a reserve defensive lineman, but he's played some, as you know. Here's what Kirby said after the SEC championship game about Lad McConkey. He said Lad's injury is a continuation of what he's been having. His knees have been bothering him, and he has some tendonitis in there. It didn't so much hurt him on that play where he got hurt. I don't know if you remember him getting taken off by the trainers, as it just started aggravating him more and didn't feel like he could go. He said, "I don't know." Excuse me. And then today he was asked. Excuse me. On Wednesday, he was asked about Ladd as well as Warren McClendon. He said, "I don't know when exactly those guys." Excuse me. He says, "I don't know when exactly we'll get those guys back. They're not practicing yet, but we're 16 or 17 days away." About Warren McClendon, he said after the SEC championship game, he said it was a quote light MCL, saying, "I don't know how long it will be." He wasn't able to go back in, obviously, don't know what grade it is. I don't know. I don't know. That's not what I do, is medical reporting. My suspicion is that both these guys will have a chance to play in the Peach Bowl. Let's say they don't. For Warren McClendon, you've got Amarius Mims, who would step into the line situation as one of the five starters. Losing Ladd McConkey and Warren McClendon both would be a pretty big shot against the Dogs. But, Ladd, I think, might hurt more. Now, you do have what looks like the return of A.D. Mitchell, who's been gone for a while. But all told, with the exception of, you know, certainly Nolan Smith being gone, uh, Georgia Georgia is missing some players. I will say that, but they're doing okay, I would say. But they're without Dan Jackson, and have been without Dan Jackson for some time, and he was a guy who played quite a bit this season. Um, but the secondary seems okay. But I think if you're coming into this thing, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, if you're coming into this game and you're missing Dan Jackson and Nolan Smith, and those are the only guys you're missing, you've done okay for a season. I mean, Ohio State's missing one of their top receivers, one of their top running backs, arguably their top in both. Um, and they're coming into this Georgia game, on the road, basically in a real hostile environment against the number one team in the country. They know what they're getting into, and it's going to be tough for Georgia, though, if they could get Ladd back specifically, because there's nobody on the team that can do what he does. That would be a big deal. Please, it, when you order Dogstruction, hustle up and do it today. I've got an order of books that have come in. I'm turning them around right away because I am stressing out for y'all and partly for me. I'm sitting over here being Chris Kringle, but I can't do it. I cannot work miracles starting next week. These are all going out priority, but even that doesn't necessarily guarantee that it will get there. Remember now, Christmas is on a Sunday, which means you're really pushing it. If you're ordering it like on the 20th, like you're pushing it. So get it now. It's the 15th. Buy yourself some time. And I'm still going to be talking about the book next week, but get it now. This is an awesome gift for Christmas. I'm going to tell you right now, my Christmas experience when I was little that I remember very specifically. Uh, I got Sports Illustrated and going into 1988, and I read it. I flipped through every page of it as a child. Folks will really read this book. It won't just be the child or the Georgia fan in your life. They'll let someone else see it, but they'll want it back. So get one for yourself. I think if you're the Dogs and if you can get Ladd and Warren back to where they need to be, basically going a month without playing a game, that's a third of the season. If you can pull that off, that would be a pretty big deal. You know, we're 2 weeks away from them playing. Not quite 2 weeks, or more than 2 weeks. So we've still got some time here, but um, I think if we, well, you just never know with Kirby. First of all, he it's curious to me. I've not really followed Ohio State a ton, but I've seen the reporting where guys are saying where they're coming back next year or not. There's also been plenty of guys who have said, "Hey, I'm not playing in this game." Whether I mean, but in both cases that's because of injuries. But um, yeah, man, Kirby and company, they wouldn't be playing that ball game, and they wouldn't be saying yes to anything. So that's the kind of difference right now in these two programs. Um, Now, all that said, I don't, I think even without Ladd and Warren McClendon, you're going to see Georgia continue to be a pretty significant favorite. It's asking a lot for Ohio State to, uh, come down to Atlanta and play well in a road environment where they've not played great on the road, generally speaking, this year. It's just not been something they've really done well at. But this line has sort of hunkered down, for lack of a better phrase. It's been flirting with 7 for a while. And Georgia, I mean, once you're at 7, that's a pretty significant moment in the statistical probability of things. You would think, since I spent you know, way too much of my graduate school experience dealing with and in statistics, I would know how to pronounce it better, but I don't. Um, but I know I love the lectures from everybody online talking about the line doesn't mean anything. No, it doesn't. And having a bunch of 3 stars on your team doesn't necessarily mean you can't win either. But you'd like to have more 5 stars if you could, right? And you'd rather be the favorite. You just would. And it can't be that you're nervous about being the favorite when you're the better team. If it can't just be lip service what Kirby's saying. I the guy that I got so annoyed with overall this was Dabo at Clemson. At the time when they were, either the number one team in the country or clearly the favorite, he would pull this, poor little Clemson routine. Um, and it was like, you got the wrong mentality, man, and I think you have to be prepared to be the bully. You have to be prepared to go punch the other guy in the face a few times and not be worried about it. Like, you go take their lunch money, and what are they going to do about it? Nothing. I mean, talk is irrelevant. Um, and having the problem I have with the quote underdog mindset is this is always the way I've thought about it is, well, we're the underdog, let's go shock the world. Meaning, in a way, it's okay to lose. No, it's not okay to lose. No, not when it takes $92,000 of donations to get tickets from Georgia for this game. Not when, people are putting their passions and their life and their money and their emotions into this. No, it's not okay. And if you're the favorite, you know, there's expectations that come with that, and you can't run from that. And Georgia's not. I mean, Kirby has always been on the front foot about this stuff. Now they don't pay attention to betting lines like some of us, but they are a leading indicator. They are a barometer. They are not always right, but their percentages basically work out to be correct. And once you hit 7, you're looking at about, let me just tell you. I mean, it's it's a significant, number. Um, Once you get to a touchdown, uh, it's just like a psychological, I think, thing for bettors or people. I don't know. Did that wrong. But getting those guys back will matter for Georgia. They this Georgia team has been really good with Lad McConkey the entire time, and he has been just a really exceptional playmaker for them. I've looked at photos through the season here lately for obvious reasons, and I will not get into the technical reason why I was fortunate to get the shot of him leaping in the air against Oregon, but that's just such a great picture and shows the guy can dance on air. I mean, he is tough and can do things other people can't do. Now, the Kent State moment was not good, dropping a touchdown, dropping a punt, and handing over Kent State three. I think it was 3 points. But this guy is something else, and Georgia really would benefit by him playing, and I sort of expect him to, but we can't know that. I'm not a physician, and I am not reporting that. I'm just saying what I suspect will happen, and we'll see how it goes on.